Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us to discuss differentiating your teaching through TEKS mastery today. My name is Bonita Allen, and I'm a schools engagement executive at Zish, and I'll be your presenter this morning. We also have Ms. Monisha on the line in the live chat, answering any questions you might have during the webinar. If we're unable to get to your questions, or you think you have something that comes up later, a question that comes up later, you can always email us at customers@zish.com, and that link is in the description. I think maybe you have to click on more in the description to see that, but that link is in the description. So feel free to ask questions in the live chat for Monisha to answer for you, or email us at customers@zish.com after the webinar. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So who is Zish? Well, we're a British edtech company based in London. We're a passionate team of individuals who bring together years of experience from very high-profile roles at Google, Discovery Ed, BBC, Twig, and many other companies. Our founder and CEO, Charles Wiles, was Google's first product manager outside the US. Charles has degrees from Oxford and Cambridge universities and a PhD in artificial intelligence and robotics. So that's a little bit about who we are. Now let's talk about who you are. So teachers' toughest challenge, or as teachers and administrators, one of your toughest challenges is to identify learning gaps in a timely fashion. So oftentimes, we don't have a full understanding of these gaps until after benchmarking or after the students have taken the STAR test. And a lot of times when we're preparing for the STAR test, we do so maybe 6 weeks, 2 months before the STAR test. We start testing the students' knowledge and preparing for the STAR test, because for the rest of the year, we're busy teaching the skills that they need to learn and not necessarily focusing on the STAR test in particular. So the challenge is, how can we identify these gaps on a daily basis, and so that we can address them early before the STAR test happens or before that benchmark happens. And our solution to this challenge is Quizlize. So Quizlize is a freemium platform that allows you to quiz your students in a fun, engaging way, and then analyze the results to be able to quickly and easily identify those learning gaps and address them early. Just quickly, I'll tell you about what Quizlize is. We have a free version, and it's free forever. It offers all the same features as the premium subscription, but you're limited to adding only 3 classes and 5 activities and a total of 100 students at a time. If you or your school would like to have access to the unlimited activities, classes, and students, that option is available for just $2 per student per year. That's basically what Quizlize is. And again, this is our solution to the challenge that teachers face on a daily basis. So now that we have all of that kind of sales pitchy stuff out of the way, we'll really dive into the meat of what we're here to talk about today, which is how to identify those gaps quickly and easily and how to address them. So with Quizlize, you can choose from thousands of ready-made quizzes in our marketplace that cover all school subject areas and grade levels. The quizzes, they're easy to find, they're in the marketplace, and they're created by other teachers. So what you do is you go in, you type in the search bar for whatever subject that you're looking for. The different quizzes for that subject will pop up. It tells you how many questions are in that quiz, how popular the quiz is, and then you can preview the questions on the quiz and then assign it to your students. You can download it, you can edit it, and make it your own and assign it to your students. So that's really helpful. And you can share those quizzes with other teachers in your department as well. Plus, you can create your own quizzes in seconds. It's really easy. We have a variety of different question types to include multiple choice, matching, sorting. You can easily add images, audio, and video to help keep the students engaged so that they don't get bored answering the same question types over and over again. Using that audio option is especially important when you're preparing for your standardized tests, because it gets the students in the practice of using stimulus-based questions. You can see here that you type in the question, you type in the correct answer, the incorrect answers, and then you have the option to type in the answer explanation, as well as a subtopic for that question. We have a math mode so that you can easily use equations and Greek lettering. Again, you have the option to use images and audio, and then you can change the duration of the question as well. So really easy to create your own quizzes and assign them to your students. Our newest feature is that we have added hundreds of ready-to-use TEKS-aligned quizzes created from previous STAR tests. So the information is already there for you. It's already aligned to the standards, and then you can use this information to test your students, to quiz your students on a daily basis on those standards, and prepare for the STAR tests on a regular basis instead of waiting until the end of the semester or a few weeks prior to the STAR test to really prepare your students. So once you've created your quizzes, or you've gone and downloaded one of our already made TEKS aligned quizzes, it's easy to play those quizzes as fun team games in class, or you can assign them as homework. And again, you can do this on a daily basis so that you're testing your students' knowledge, either in the form of an exit ticket, demonstration of learning, or however you choose to assign it to them as homework or in the class, to really fully understand their knowledge of not only what they're learning or what you taught them in class that day, but how they can apply it in when they're testing for the STAR test. So once the students have taken the quiz and you get all of this data back, the question is, what do you do with that data? Well, Quizlize then analyzes that data for you, the students' results, in our clear and helpful dashboards. It allows you to gain insights that let you quickly pinpoint those learning gaps so that you can address them in a timely fashion. So you're assigning the quizzes on a daily basis as an exit ticket or as homework. You're reviewing the information that's already been analyzed for you, and then when you address it in your reteach the next day, you're helping your students get better on a daily basis instead of waiting until the benchmark to see who is falling behind, and then addressing that all of these different standards that these students have fallen behind on all at the same time. I understand that I got a message saying one person is unable to see the video right now, but you can hear. The video will be recorded, and so if you're having trouble seeing the video presentation right now, you can always go back and watch the recording after the video, but hopefully we can get the video coming back up soon. Okay, so we talked about capturing the data using the quizzes as in class or as homework for demonstrations of learning and exit tickets. And we talked about gaining insight, and then the third part of that is to be able to take action. So I'm going to move over to the dashboard, to the actual platform, and allow you guys to really see what this looks like in real time. So what we're going to do is I'd like for everyone to open your web browser. And if you can, split the screen so that you can still see the video presentation, and open another web browser. I'm going to have you guys see how easy it is to take the test from the student's perspective, and how engaging it is. So we have two different team games, and I'll show them both to you now. If you want to go ahead in your new browser, type in zzi.sh, and it should take you to a screen that says enter this code. Now, if you're currently a Quizalize user, you may need to open an incognito window or a private browsing window so that the system doesn't get confused about whether or not you're a teacher or a student. If you've never used Quizalize before, that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. But go ahead and type zzi.sh in your browser window and type in the code CVB6847. You can see the browser information here and the class code here. So your students, that's how they'll log in. They'll be able to type in their first and last name. You have the option to also be able to lock it down so that they have to use an email address and password for integrity purposes. Or you have the option to leave it open the way that we have here. And I'll just give you guys a few minutes to go ahead and log in. We have had a few people play the game already, so you can kind of see the results over on this side. And again, the results are instantaneous. So as the students are playing the quiz, are playing the game, taking the quiz, these results are popping up. They're being loaded into your dashboard as they're taking the quiz. So you can see as the students are taking it, who is doing well, who's falls into the strong category, who falls into the almost there category, and then who falls into the needs help category. Oh, I'm sorry. So if you guys have, if you've logged in, just take the first quiz that comes up. I see people have some questions about which quiz to take. It should be the 5.8C Earth in Space quiz. TEKS Science Grade 5-5.8C Earth in Space. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so again, if you open a new browser, type in zzi.sh and enter the class code CVB6847. And again, if you're already a Quizalize user, you'll want to go into a private browser. Okay, it looks like we have some people joining the game now. So you see in the basketball game, this is one of our team games. As the students are answering the questions, they're scoring. The class is playing against the computer. So they'll score points on the basketball game against the computer. It's fun and it keeps it competitive and fun without having the students feel like they're falling behind or fighting against one another. And again, as you can see, as students start answering questions, their points will go up. They get points for correct answers as well as answering the question in a timely fashion. So the quicker they answer the question, the more points they'll get. So it kind of, again, it keeps it fun and engaging. And you can see the students here are starting to score some points. And as they're scoring points, our dashboard is also being populated with where they are. So again, the dashboard is going to regroup for you the students into the categories of strong, almost there, and who needs help. It'll also show a fourth category of no data if the students have not answered any questions yet. Continue to play. I'm going to show you the other version of our game. This is our basketball game. The other version is the team versus team. So the basketball game is team versus computer. The team versus team, you can see students taking the quiz and they're racing to the finish line. So the computer automatically, or the system automatically divides the class into two groups, and the students answer the question. As they're answering the question, they're racing towards the finish line. And again, they're getting points for correct answers and for answering it quickly. But they don't see who's getting incorrect answers or who's getting the correct answers. They only see how close they are to finishing the quiz, and that's the race towards the finish line. And as you can see, we have our first team, our green team over here has 5,000 points, and we have a couple of people racing to the finish line. The orange team has 3,737 points, and some people are still racing to the finish line here. You can also see that some students have taken multiple tries, and so that adds to the total number of points. Okay, and while you guys are finishing up your quiz here, I'm just going to maximize the dashboard so you can really see what that looks like. Oh, that's a little too big. Okay, there we go. So you can see that the students are automatically regrouped into these categories. We have one student with no data right now. We have two students in the who needs help category, 6 in the almost there category, and then we have the 4 students in the strong category. And again, this is updating as the students are taking the quiz. So if someone answers a question, the first question wrong, they may automatically be put into the needs help category. And then as they continue to get questions right, they can move into the almost there or the strong category, depending on how well they do with the quiz. Once the students are done taking the quiz, you can click on any of their names. So briefly, I'm going to go over the tabs at the top. We have the live game that we were just watching. We have the Who Needs Help tab, which is the tab that we're on right now. We have the What We Need Help With tab, and that's as a class as a whole, which questions were hardest for us. We have the spreadsheet overview, the subtopics, improvements, and the export tab, and we'll go over each of these tabs in detail. So the Who Needs Help tab, again, it regroups the students automatically for you. And then you can click on any of the students' names to really get an understanding, drill down into how the students did and what they understood the best. So on Roxy's first attempt, and Roxy took the quiz 2 times, you can see here, on her first try, she got a 44.44%. On the grade 5, 5.8C Earth and Space on their first try. I took this quiz too, guys, and I can say that I am definitely not smarter than a 5th grader, and it looks like some of you guys are in the same boat here. So we got 44.44% on the first try, and on her second try, she got a 100%. So we can see automatically that she has improved already. She has an understanding of the questions that she got wrong, and she was able to then go back and take the quiz again and fully understand what she got wrong and demonstrate that learning overall for that objective for the day. These are the questions. If you scroll down, you can see the first questions that pop up are the ones that Roxy got correct. And the first question that comes up is her fastest right answer. So we can assume that this was a question that she knew right away. She fully understood this question as soon as she saw it. She answered the question in 3.2 seconds. And then the next question, it took her a little longer to answer, 25.4 seconds. So some questions may take a little longer to answer depending on the length of the question or the amount of detail in the diagram. But you can kind of get an understanding on if all the questions are about the same length or relatively similar questions. This time frame can help you really understand how much time the students took to think about the question, whether they knew the answer right away or whether they had to take a little bit of time to think about it. So these are the 3 questions or 4 questions that Roxy got right. And then we see the one that took her the longest amount of time to answer. And she got the least amount of points towards the team game for that question. So Roxy can continue to practice the test to get the extra 1,000 points. And these are the questions that she got wrong that she can gain more points towards. You can see how long it took her to answer these questions as well. And so this really helps you get a better understanding of what Roxy as an individual is struggling with and which question was the hardest for her. She took some time to think about it. Now this question was a little longer to read. And she took some extra time to think about it. And after thinking about it, she still was not able to come up with the correct answer. But with the feedback that she got on the quiz on her second try, she was able to go back and improve her score by 55.56% and get a 100% overall. And then again, you can see which questions it took her the least amount of time to answer. So the ones that she had already taken and she knew right away, she was able to go back and re-answer those questions quickly and get the correct answer. And then take a little bit of extra time to think about the questions that she didn't get right the first time. So we see that instantaneous improvement for Roxy right there. So we move over to the what questions were the hardest tab. So as a group, as a whole, we really get some understanding about which questions the students didn't really understand that day. Excuse me, guys. The students didn't really understand as part of that instruction that day. Only 2 students got this question right. Movements of the Earth, Moon, and Sun. And we see that 11 of us need help with this question, but not only do we need help with this question, not only did we get it wrong, but we can see how they answered the question. If we scroll down here, we can see again the incorrect answer that the students chose. And so this really helps with your reteach and with your small group and having students collaborate and say, okay, why did 4 of us think that this was the incorrect answer? Why did we think that, and how can we get to the correct answer? And kind of discuss, maybe the question was worded in a way that they didn't understand, or maybe something that you talked about in class that day led these 4 students to believe that this was the answer, and really going back and understanding why this is the correct answer can reinforce that learning for them. So that is the which questions were hardest or what we need help with tab. So the spreadsheet view, and I'll just go over this really quickly, is just a quick snapshot of how the students did overall and which questions were the hardest. So it lines the questions up at the top, and you can see which ones were the hardest for all of us. And then you can see which students struggled the most on all of the different questions. You can sort this by weakest first, by strongest first, and you can also sort it alphabetically. So you can see the multiple attempts lined up side by side. And Alid, again, took the quiz the first time. He scored 8 out of 9. And then the second time he took the quiz, he also got a 100%. So you can see the different students and how they how they scored. Down at the bottom, we see that we still have a couple of students that are in the process of taking the quiz, and we have one that Gabby on her second attempt hasn't answered any questions yet. On the subtopics tab, this is great for those topics quizzes, which we'll review in a minute, that have overall topics instead of specific standards. So this specific quiz was just one specific standard. So there weren't multiple subtopics within the quiz. But when you're doing an end of unit review and there's more than one subtopic, this tab really helps you gain some insight and understanding into what topics the students fully grasp and what topics they're still struggling with. And then finally, we have the improvements tab. And let's see, so we can pick an activity and we're going to compare 5.8A to 5.8C. Actually, we'll compare this 5.7A to 5.8C. So we can see overall that the class improved from this standard of learning to this standard of learning by 32.54%. On the first standard, on the first quiz, they got a 28.57%, and on the second quiz, they got a 61.11%. Now, these are two different learning objectives. These are two different standards, and so this really kind of, gives you a snapshot view again of the fact that the students may understand this 5.8C subtopic better than they understood the 5.7A, or if you're comparing two similar quizzes, say a pre-test and a post-test, then you can really gauge the class overall improvement. And then if you scroll down, you can see some students scored the same, or this is the only test that they took. And then other students have improved their scores. We can see that Roxy improved from an 11% from the first test to a 44% on this test. And this really helps with students' confidence a little bit, and your confidence as a teacher, to know that even though Roxy is still not doing well, she is making some progress. And you can demonstrate that she's making some progress to her parents, and figure out where we need to go to continue to have Roxy make that improvement and show that what we're doing is helping her to improve along the way. Ian, on the other hand, went from a 33% to a 22%. And so maybe we need to address why he isn't progressing and figure out a way to do something that will work for Ian to help him improve before the next assessment. So that's our improvements tab. Okay. So you guys just had the opportunity to take one of our TEKS aligned quizzes, and I just want to show you what that looks like in the marketplace. So if you're already a Quizalize member, great. If not, you can log in for the free version of the app again. And if you're in Texas, what you'll see when you log into Quizalize is this welcome screen, and it'll show you the thousands of TEKS questions for mastery that we have available. We can click on the view all TEKS content right here. And the screen pops up with all the different subject areas. So you can see that we have math, grades 3 through 8. We also have content for high school, and working on populating that content as we speak, so that content should be available for you guys soon. For writing, for instance, there's only 4th and 7th grade because that's when the students take the STAR test. And we scroll down and we see science here, grades 5 and 8. So I'm going to click on grade 5. There's 51 quizzes available for 5th grade science. And as you can see, there are 3 different types. There's the past papers, which are longer. They have, they cover a variety of subtopics. We have 5 quizzes available. It says here 5 quizzes available. It tells you how many quizzes or questions are on each quiz and what year these past papers came from. So you can go back to 2013 or as recent as 2017. And you would just click play. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. There we go. Just click play and assign it to your class. There's also the skills review, which is what you guys just took. One of the skills reviews. So this drills down into the individual skills, and you can see the topics that are available here. 3.7b, investigate rapid changes in Earth's surface. There's only 2 questions available on these, and these are great for exit tickets because it's the individual skill that you may have learned that day, and they're short quizzes that the students can take at the end of class before they leave. It doesn't take very long. Some of the other quizzes you may want to assign for homework, for instance. So those are our skills review quizzes. And then our third type of quizzes are our topic review quizzes. And so this is our overall topics. We have 8 of these available for 5th grade science. And they go over the high level 3.5 topic, matter and energy, that may cover or that will cover all of the individual standards that are associated with that particular topic. And some of these quizzes have as few as 5 questions. Some of them have as many as 33 questions. So you can assign these as exit tickets. You can use them as chapter review or the past papers as a benchmark review prior to taking any benchmark tests. The great thing is when you create a quiz, so we'll go to, let me go back up to the past papers. Again, these are longer, and you can use them as a benchmark review to prep for the benchmark, or you can use it as your exit ticket, but of course you want your exit ticket to be relatively short. So when I click on that, I can say, okay, this is the past paper for Star Science Grade 5 from 2013. I can randomize the question order. Well, first I can choose to turn sounds on and off. I can randomize question order, but as an exit ticket, I don't want the students taking 44 questions. So I'm going to choose to only give the students 10 of the 44 questions, and those questions will be assigned to the students randomly. So they'll each get an individualized test, which helps with test integrity as well. You can choose to use the timer to allow them to have a little more time, especially if it's for homework or something. You can give them the option to see their feedback and the correct answer right away. So if you're giving it to them for homework, of course, you want them to be able to get that feedback right away and then be able to go in and retake the test and fully understand why they got the incorrect answers and how to come to the correct solution. Now, if you're giving the quiz in class, you may want to turn the feedback off so that the first period students can't then go back and give the answers to the second period students, especially if you're doing a chapter review or preparing for a benchmark or something. There's a show your work option. So if there's any math related questions where you want to really understand why the students came to the conclusion that they did, they can write down show their work on a piece of paper and capture that on a webcam or on their tablet or smartphone, and it automatically loads all of their written work into the quiz. And finally, there's mastery mode, which again reinforces that student learning. So at the end of the quiz, whatever questions they got wrong, the mastery mode will begin questions over and over again until to come up with the correct answer that they got correct. So once I'm satisfied, we'll go ahead and click continue. And it's moving a little bit slow here. Doing live videos, and I've got 3 different screens open. The Quizlet is open. Let me close out of some of these. All right, there we go. So then I'll go ahead and give it to the class that I want to assign it to. And I've got some options here to allow them to play in class or as homework. I can assign it on a specific date. I can customize which date to assign it to. Or I can say leave it open for a certain number of days. And then I have the option to give this an unlimited number of tries, or 1 try, or a specific number of tries, up to 10 tries, or unlimited. And once I'm satisfied with that, I'll go ahead and click, I can save it and give it to another class, or I can click finish, and then my students have the opportunity to go ahead and play the game. The class code is easily found here so that you can give the students their class code and they can take the game. And once the students have taken the quizzes, as you can see here, the dashboard, and it shows all of the students in my class and which assignments they've taken. Then I can quickly go over here to my mastery dashboard, and this is really where it's going to help you gain some understanding on how the students are doing that TEKS content to the standards. Make this a little smaller. Okay, there we go. Refresh the screen really quick. Sorry, this is taking so long to load, guys. I do have a lot of things running in the background. So what our mastery dashboard gives you is the overall view of how the students are doing with a particular subtopic. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's going on here. It normally doesn't take so long for the website to load. Well, I'll go back a little bit and show you what this looks like. So here are the different subtopics that are available, or subjects that are available for the TEKS. And again, I'm going to click on science, and we're doing 5th grade science. And we're going to look at, we took the quiz on Earth and space, so we're going to look at the Earth and space. There we go. So it's loaded now. So you can see here across the top, it has each of the individual standards. And then it shows you as a class our average score on this particular standard. So we can see that the 5.78 Earth and Space, which we compared with our other quiz earlier, and we knew that we didn't do so well on. As a class overall, we have a 48 average on that standard. We can scroll down and see that Emily has a 33, Ava has a 22 on that particular standard. Some of our other students haven't taken that quiz. And then on 5.8C, for instance, which is the quiz that you guys just took, we have a 65 average. So some people are doing a little better than others on that. Gabby got an 89 on that quiz. Alec got a 94. And you can see overall, just gives you a snapshot of how the class is doing, how the students are doing individually on the specific standards, so that you can keep track of the standards in one place. Over here on the side, you can see the students' overall average on 5.7 to 5.8 Earth and Space topic. So this is Emily overall has a 32 average, and on the individual standards, you can see where she's really struggling. Let's see somebody that has a little bit, some different grades. So Chrissy, for instance, is doing well. She has a 64 average overall, but she's doing well on 5.7C and not so well on 5.7A. She is doing okay. She just needs a little extra help on 5.8A and 5.8C. And so we can really differentiate how we're going to teach Chrissy in our reteach and other students that are struggling with 5.7A versus Alid, who scored well on 5.7A, and we may want to give him something that's some higher order thinking skills that are related to this particular standard, so that he can enrich his knowledge and enhance his understanding of the topic, since he already has has grasped a firm grasp on the particular standard. From this screen as well, I want to show you guys that you can click on any of these standards. So we'll click on 5.7A. Just hover right below the standard and you can click quiz, and it'll show you all of the quizzes that are available for that particular standard. Some standards will have more than one quiz available, others will just have one. And from there, you can give this quiz to your class. So that's relatively simple. Or you can add your own quiz and create questions based on your learning that are then also going to be tied back into the mastery dashboard and tied to that particular standard, so that you can track the students' progress on the skills that you've taught them, the questions that you think that they should be understanding that are related to this particular topic and this particular skill. So again, you can add your own quiz, and what happens when you add your own quiz here, and if they have multiple quizzes that they've taken, is that the standard will then take an overall average of how the students are scoring on the different assignments that are associated with this particular standard. So again, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to enhance your teaching with insights that are meaningful and helpful. Again, first of all, you're going to capture that data using the fun quizzes in class or as homework, and the team quizzes that the teachers that the students are taking individually. So they're taking the quiz individually, but they are playing it as a team, which is really fun, and it allows them to really understand where they're struggling at the most, but in a safe and fun environment for them. Secondly, you're going to gain those valuable insights with our dashboards, the mastery dashboard, the who needs help dashboard, and then it allows you to then take that action immediately. And again, instead of waiting until the benchmark or the STAR test to understand, or even an end of chapter review to understand where your students are falling behind, you're able to take that action on a daily basis to understand where they need help on specific topics and standards on a daily basis, and then be able to tailor your teaching and your reteaching the next day immediately in a way that's the most efficient and effective for the students. So if you want to have, if you have questions or you want to find out more info, we have a 3-minute intro video that's available on YouTube. We'll put the link to this particular presentation in the chat, so you can go back and review the presentation again, as well as the link to this video. If you want to book a live web demo where we can fully understand your needs with one of our school's engagement executives, it'll be a one-on-one demo online, and you can do it just with you. You can bring a couple of your teachers if anyone wants to know more, or any of your administrators if they want to know more about what this is like, and we can show you all of the TEKS content that's available and answer any questions that you have about how to best use the system. So if you'd like to book a live web demo, that link is also in the description right below the video. And finally, if you have any questions, Monisha's been there to answer your questions in the chat, but if she wasn't able to get to one of your questions for some reason, you can always email us at customers@zish.com. I am here locally in the San Antonio area. Feel free to call me at any time. I'm at 210-833-4463. And we'll continue answering any questions that you guys might have. We have about a little more than 10 minutes left to answer questions. So let us know if there's something that you'd like us to review or go over, or if you have any questions on how to use the system. It looks like I'm having some technical difficulties here. I'm not able to see the questions in the live chat, but again, Monisha is there answering questions for you guys. So I'm going to leave the chat open for a few more minutes so that Monisha can answer all of your questions. The broadcast will end at 11 promptly. And again, if you guys have any additional questions, the links are below to book your live web demo, or to ask additional questions at customers@zish.com. You can also sign up for your free version and ask questions in the live chat on our website at quizlies.com. And all of those links are in the description below. Thanks for tuning in, guys.